already know from the title that this is going to be a vegan Trader Joe's grocery haul, but on top of just showing you what I got, I always like to show you some meal ideas to go with it, because a lot of times you see all this cool stuff, especially at a place like Trader Joe's. They have a lot of new fall items, a lot of like cool looking, interesting looking products, but then you get home and you're like, what am I gonna do with that? In this video, I'm gonna show you what I like to do with that to help give you some good ideas for easy dinners, fun snacks, and just kind of seasonal festive meals. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, and let's get started. I wanted to start with a fun meal idea for a product that a lot of you guys are probably familiar with, and that's these Thai vegetable gyozas. These are all vegan, and there's lots of vegetable dumplings at most grocery stores that are pretty vegan friendly. So I wanted to show you how I learned how to make these Szechuan dumplings. Now, this is not a super authentic recipe. I will link a very authentic recipe in the description box below, but this is something I saw on TikTok, and I've been making these dumplings this way ever since. It really ups the flavor. If you're not a fan of frozen dumplings, you gotta try this. I'm just gonna steam the veggie dumplings and then make a quick sauce. I'm using this chili onion crunch, which has some red chili flakes, some dehydrated onions and garlic. It's super flavorful. Then I add some low sodium tamari, a bit of edge and brightness with some white rice vinegar, and just a little bit of nuttiness and depth with a couple drops of sesame oil. Then I'm gonna mix that all together, pour it over the dumplings, toss that all around to coat each and every one, and then I add some sesame seeds and fresh scallions. The scallions are key, and oh, this is so flavorful. You've got to try it. Next, I got some bananas. I usually get 2 bunches and use one for the week and let another one go super ripe so I can freeze the bananas for smoothies. I also got some frozen broccoli. This is great to add to the gyoza. You could do that and frozen edamame to make like a whole rounded out meal. But I also like to use this to make my broccoli spinach soup, especially this time of year. I want more like comforting flavors, not necessarily, cold, crunchy salad. So this is a great way to get in lots of veggies. I just start by sauteing some onions with oregano and garlic. I add a lot of frozen vegetables like frozen broccoli and frozen spinach, and I'm gonna add some cashews and vegetable broth and just let this cook together. It's super easy. Once it cools down a little bit, I will blend it until it's nice and smooth. It's gonna blend into a really nice creamy consistency because of those cashews. And as you can see, it's like this velvety vegetable soup that is super tasty on its own, but I also really love to put it in a bread bowl, which is very easy to make. I'll put the recipe for this in the description box below if you want to recreate it at home, but this is so good and a great way to get your veggies. I have oatmeal almost every single day for breakfast, so I had to do a restock, and I love getting the organic old fashioned. I got these pumpkin JoJo's, and if you haven't seen my chocolate covered Oreos recipe, I'll link that below. I'm thinking of doing a vegan white chocolate version of this for a Halloween movie night. I think that's going to be really fun. I was also really excited to see this. I've got a date night planned for this weekend, so I thought it'd be fun to do a little snack board and have some carrots, celery, this buffalo dip, and some chips and crackers on the side. I love this pumpkin granola. I get this all year round because it's not particularly fall-y, like it doesn't have a lot of cinnamon and spices, but I love how crunchy it is, and it makes a really quick breakfast with some peanut butter, soy milk, and banana slices. I also picked up some almond butter, and I use this obviously for sandwiches and oatmeal, but I also really love it as the secret ingredient in my pumpkin soup. If you haven't tried this pumpkin soup, it's one of my all-time favorite soups ever. It's so creamy, and it's got lots of nice flavor from the ginger. It's got some coriander. The black pepper really pops. It's just so tasty. I often make my own tahini sauce at home because it is pretty quick, but I like that this is a pre-made convenient option. So I'm going to use that for grain bowls and salads throughout the week. It's also great on baked potato fries. I got quite a lot of tofu because I really want to make my breakfast burrito boats. I'll put that recipe down below in the description box, but normally I make it with green chilies, tempeh, and potatoes, and I make like a hash, like a really savory, delicious hash. But I also like to put that into little breakfast burrito boats like this. So I start with some mini tortillas. I like using flour tortillas. I'll very lightly brush them with a little olive oil and then place them into just a regular muffin tin like this. Sprinkle generously with some everything but the bagel seasoning, and when they bake, they get nice and crispy and toasted. Then I brown up some vegan sausage with scallions. I add some chopped red potatoes and garlic. Then I usually crumble in tempeh like I did when I filmed this recipe video, but I also like to do this with tofu, so you can kind of change it up and use whatever you like. Then I add some cauliflower rice. I love that this makes it a little bit more hearty. It sneaks in a veggie, and it also just gives it a little bit more volume, so it's nice and filling. I'm gonna add my spices like turmeric, which gives it this beautiful yellow color, and this is good on its own. You've got your veggies, you've got your potatoes, you've got your tempeh in there. It's super flavorful because that little bit of vegan sausage, but I like to take it up even like one step further by stuffing it into the little breakfast burrito boat. So I do a thin layer of vegan cream cheese on the bottom, just gives it a really nice texture and creaminess, and kind of like plays on the everything bagel vibe, from the tortilla. Then I fill that up with the tempeh tempeh hash, and I top it with some salsa verde and fresh cilantro. This is such a great breakfast, brunch, even dinner. It's a big crowd pleaser. It's loaded with protein and fiber, so it's really satisfying and it's great. You've got to try it. I'll put the recipe below. Because I was going to make this, I also picked up some turmeric at Trader Joe's, as well as some salsa. I love this for snacking, but also for making tofu scramble, and nutritional yeast, because I usually use that in my tofu scramble as well. So all of this was very much according to plan. I got some tomatoes. I honestly just picked the ones that are the brightest red color, and that happened to be these. And this is a new item, the vegan cashew ravioli. It's like a spinach cashew ravioli. Never tried it before, but I'm really excited to see this at Trader Joe's. Got lots of pumpkin. I love to load up on pumpkin this time of year to make all kinds of pastas and soups, but my favorite, all-time favorite, is this vegan pumpkin bread. I start by mixing together some flax seeds and water. Ground flaxseed and water kind of turns into a gel. So I put that into a little bowl and mix it all together and then set it aside to thicken. Next comes the dry ingredients, which could not be simpler. It's just some flour, baking powder, baking soda, and then all of those cozy warming spices like cinnamon and nutmeg with some salt. The salt really makes the flavor pop and balances out the sweetness so it's not overly sweet. Whisk that all together and set it aside. And the last step is just to mix together the wet ingredients, which is just some sugar and refined coconut oil. I really recommend using refined coconut oil. I probably sound like a broken record to some of you at this point, but it makes such a big difference, because coconut oil, virgin coconut oil, has a nice but strong coconut flavor, and that changes the overall outcome. And especially since I think a lot of people expect vegan desserts to, have something a little bit different, a little bit off about them, that coconut becomes very detectable. And so I like to use refined coconut oil because it just shocks people that it's a vegan dessert. It tastes exactly the same as regular pumpkin bread. The other secret ingredient is fresh ginger. Now, of course, you can use ground ginger, and that's good too, but there's something about this recipe that I think is really special, and it's the fresh ginger. It really just complements the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the pumpkin with that bit of salt that we added. It's just so good. So I really recommend, if possible, using fresh. Then you're just going to combine the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients, and then comes the pumpkin. I alternate a little bit of pumpkin, a little bit of water, the rest of the pumpkin, the rest of the water. It's super easy, and this just gives the pumpkin bread a beautiful texture, which you'll see after it's done baking. This is the time you want to go ahead and make yourself a cup of tea or a warm cup of coffee and enjoy. Look at that texture. It's so good. I also got some vegan cream cheese from Trader Joe's because I wanted to make a cream cheese drizzle for my pumpkin bread. Then I got some frozen peas to make my lima bean hummus recipe, and these veggie burgers. Now, these are kind of crumbly. I'm not going to lie. They're not the best burger necessarily, but I do like them on grain bowls and on like salads as just kind of a quick, hearty, satiating, quick protein sort of thing if I need an easy meal. So I don't think they're the best things in the world, but I actually really like them. So let me know if you've tried them and what you think. I got these spooky bats, which are sour gummy candies. They're totally vegan friendly, and I thought they'd be really fun for Halloween. Also got some organic jasmine rice. I love how fluffy jasmine rice is, as well as this vegan feta. Now I use this for so many things, including my whipped vegan feta recipe, which I'll link below. But I also really love this warm, savory kale salad. It's a warm salad. It's a great side dish. It's a really great lunch as well. And I really like it for meal prep because it's good the next day cold as well. So there's really a lot of different uses for it, and it's one of my favorite Thanksgiving side dishes that I made last year. So I'll put the recipe below, but it's super easy. I start by toasting some walnuts. I'm going to saute onions and garlic, and then I'm going to make the smoky miso white wine sauce, which sounds fancy, but it's super easy just by combining a little bit of chickpea miso. You can use any kind of light miso you like, but chickpea miso is great, especially if any of you happen to have soy allergies. This is great because it's made with chickpeas instead of soy. Then comes a secret ingredient, which is just a couple of drops of liquid smoke. This adds a really nice kind of smokiness in the background. It's subtle, but so good. Then I deglaze the pan with some dry white wine. Then we add the kale. That's going to steam all together. I'll add salt and lots of black pepper. That's one of the best parts here. Then I'll add back in the toasted walnuts along with a handful of raisins and some vegan feta. And if you get the Trader Joe's one, you're going to want to just crumble it up because it comes in a solid block. And I finish with lots of black pepper on top. And this is not only a very beautiful side dish, but you have great textures going on because you've got the creaminess from the vegan feta, the crunch from the walnuts, the kind of chewy, sweet little pop of sweetness from the raisins, which is great because everything else is kind of intensely savory and smoky and garlicky, and it's so balanced and so satisfying. You're gonna love it. I'd love to know what you guys think of some of the items I picked up, and also if there are favorites that you guys have at Trader Joe's that you're like, how can you leave Trader Joe's without getting this? Please let me know in the comments because that way I can add it to my list for next time. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching this grocery haul, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye.